For the last 6 years, I've been negotiating with the ghost. The only thing I wanted to do was sitting in front of a camera and documenting my life, my career in marketing, how I moved to Sydney from Italy. But I didn't, because I was terrified of what my colleague will say or what my friends will think about me, but mostly terrified of you hearing this exact voice and my Italian accent. I just turned 30 and the greatest gift I could give myself wasn't a designer bag, it was the decision to stop paying the judgment tax. So welcome to my channel, and we are doing this in English. Today I'm unpacking all the things I wish I knew when I was 22, the finance reality check, my health healing journey, and why the best things in my life happened when I started failing fast. So let's dive in with chapter 1. Stop worrying about what other people think about you and start following your dreams. As I mentioned earlier, I spent most of my life worrying about what other people think about me. And I'm only 30, but I'm already regretting not starting this YouTube channel earlier. Every day I wonder where I might be now if I started sooner. Recently I read this book, The Slight Edge, and there was a chapter that really resonated with me. The author mentioned that according to a study, only 50% of your friends will show up at your funeral, which is crazy if you think about it. We spend most of our life worrying about what other people will think about us or what our friends say, and in the end, only 50% of our relatives or friends will show up at our funeral. So is it really worth to live a life with fear and worrying about what other people think about us? That's why I decided to follow my dreams and taking this YouTube channel more seriously moving forward. In the end, people are probably very busy with their own lives to really care about what they see on social media. Yes, maybe they see your Instagram post, your TikTok video, maybe they comment, they maybe say, oh, this is silly, this is cringe, whatever, but they just move with their lives. So is that really important? I don't think so. So this is a sign to just follow your own dreams, start the project you really desire, start everything that makes you feel happy. I know you have heard this so many times, but trust me, sometimes you have this fear that is holding you back. Like what happened to me was I just had this fear holding me back. I was never sticking with this project. I was always, oh, should I post this video? Should I not? Because what if my friends back in Italy see my reel and they will leave a negative comment or they start talking behind my back? And to be honest, now I don't care anymore. So that's my first big lesson. Chapter 2, always prioritize your physical and mental health. I'm saying this coming from someone who navigated 20 years of eating disorders. You cannot build pretty much anything if your foundations are crumbling. I never had a good relationship with food or with physical activity. I will probably dedicate a separate video to this topic because it deserves more time. However, another important lesson I learned is that you really need to prioritize your physical and mental health. Let's start with the physical health first. I was a very unhealthy girl, and also since I was a little kid, I never had a good relationship with food. Unfortunately, I developed my first eating disorder when I was very little. I was like 6 years old. I was in primary school pretty much, so I've never done like a sport, or I was eating a lot of junk food. I wasn't eating like food that is good for your health, like for example fruit, proteins. I was just eating carbs and any sort of junk food, which is very unhealthy. In this video, I'm not gonna really go into all my healing journey with my eating disorders. I just want to mention that even if you are now in a state where you feel lazy or you don't feel you wanna work out, maybe you need to really shift something on your mindset, because everything changed with me when I shift my mindset and I stopped thinking about going to the gym or working out as something that is like a punishment, and I started thinking about it like something good, something that I'm doing for taking care of myself. For example, when I was in high school, I was often skipping PE classes because I was like, oh, I can't be bothered. But now I'm literally the opposite. I work out a lot. I work out like 6 days per week. I will do probably another video where I show you guys how is my workout schedule and all the other type of exercise I'm doing. I'm now doing, for example, dance classes, I do spinning classes, I do Pilates, I do yoga, I do pretty much everything. not because I want to punish myself, but because I really enjoy working out. I understand how important it is. And also the good thing is that when you work out, you enter in this dopamine reward cycle, which is a positive cycle. The more you work out, the better you feel, and you just want to keep going and keep going. Yeah, if you're young or younger than me and you think that you are lazy, you're not. You just need to start in something very, very simple and easy to do. For example, now my mom wants to start working out a little bit more, and I'm giving her some recommendations. I think sometimes people do the mistake of, okay, I'll just start and go to the gym like 7 days per week, no stop. I think the best advice I can give you is to start small. Start going to the gym like 2 days or even less, 1 day per week. Or you can start also working out at home in your living room. You just need to open up like a YouTube video with a 15 minutes quick workout. No weights, just use your body weight. Something super easy. You just need to build the habit. A great book I can recommend you is Atomic Habit. I love reading books. I will probably mention a lot of books, and I will probably do a few dedicated videos. All the books I've read and what I learned from reading those books. But Atomic Habit is a great book, and if you really want to learn how to develop a good habit, I really recommend this book. So really start small, be consistent, and then you will see that you will enter in this positive cycle of working out. And another recommendation is do something that you really enjoy, because many people tell me, oh, but I don't like lifting weights. Even though I think lifting weights should be your fundamental, but if you just want to start and you don't feel you really like lifting weights, you can just start with daily movement, even going out for a 30 minutes walk or a dance class if you like dancing. Anything to move your body. That is just like 10 minutes every day, move your body, be active, because your 60 years old will thank you. Alongside that, also taking care of your mental health is very important. And as I mentioned, I had an eating disorder, and what I've done to feel better, I started a therapy journey with a therapist. My therapist is amazing. I've been working with her on my healing journey for like 5 years now. She's amazing. I really like her. So my recommendation, if you're struggling with anything and you really feel you want to improve, investing money with a professional that can support you is very important, because as I mentioned, you cannot really build anything if your foundations are not strong. You feel you're crumbling and you really need to fix something inside you. You're not alone. So if you like this topic, I will probably do like dedicated videos in the future about this topic, so let me know in the comments. Chapter 3, finance, another big topic I forgot to mention at the beginning, but I'm doing this video because I feel I'm someone that really started from basically zero, like from scratch. I really knew nothing about gym, health, finance, nothing. So I've been trying to figure out everything since I was a little kid. I've always read a lot of books, I watch a lot of videos. Everything I'm saying here is just me learning through a lot of trial and errors. Finance is one of these. For context, I grew up in a very normal family. I actually grew up with a lot of financial anxiety. Like I could feel like my family is not rich. So I really started feeling the financial anxiety since I was a little kid, and the pressure of start working to earn money. In fact, my first job was at 14 years old. I was helping my auntie with her office job, and I was just doing photocopies or I was preparing coffees. I remember I earned my first 50 euros in a week, which was wow, or maybe 2 weeks, I don't remember, but to me it was like wow. So if I work hard, I can make a lot of money. Of course, you grow up and you learn that you can make money in many other ways. Of course, you have to work hard, but there are so many ways of making money that are not just exchanging your time for financial reward like a salary. If you can start taking care of your finance and start to learn personal finance when you're young, the younger the better. I feel that in school, especially in Italy, we don't really learn how to manage our finances unless you come from a wealthy family where they do like a lot of investments. I literally didn't know a thing about investing, so I had to learn everything by myself, and that's why I'm telling you, even if you feel nobody is teaching me, luckily we live in a world where you're full of resources. We have AI, we have YouTube, we have books. Learn how to manage your personal finance. Even though sometimes I felt this financial anxiety and this was not making me feeling good, I told myself, okay, this is your life. Nobody is going to save you. So I started studying personal finance. I started reading a lot of books about finance. And I know they might sound boring, but it's actually fun. Like if you start thinking about it as a sort of game, you actually start enjoying it. I was someone that always said, oh, I'm not good with math, I'm not good with numbers. But trust me, if you start learning, you actually start figuring out a lot of things that you might think, oh, okay, this is actually cool. Like you learn about investing, stocks, ETFs. And if you want to learn about investing, there are so many good YouTubers. I can leave some names in the comments of all the content creators that I was following to learn more about finance, so I'll leave the names in the comments. Chapter 4, really curate your input. And what I mean by that is really start taking care of what you are consuming, because nowadays with social media, bad news, I feel like we are fed with a lot of negative information, with a lot of AI slop, and this really affects our brain. So it's very important that you take care of what you are consuming. For example, I never stop recommend reading books, because books are probably the best way to keep your brain sharp. I really enjoy reading books about self-help, finance, or any sort of things that I can learn that I enjoy the topic. For example, it can be like astronomy, but yeah, you can also read romance if you enjoy it. So I don't want to say read 10 pages every day, because of course you have to figure out what works for you. But usually every night before going to sleep, I try to read 10, 20 pages. It really depends. I don't have a set goal, because sometimes people are like, oh, you have to read 12 books in a year or even more. Really read what you think works best with your schedule, but try to be consistent, because even 2 pages every day, at the end of the year, you have read probably more books than everyone else. So also, if you can, try to filter what you are consuming on social media. A lot of people say social media is bad, it's terrible, you should just delete it. But I feel it's better to probably learn how to live with that, how to learn how to filter what you are consuming. I live in Australia and in Sydney precisely, and now there are some little parrots, like those little green one, like these ones that are so cute, now flying here on the palm trees. Okay, back to our AI slop. Yeah, as I said, maybe try, if you can, to avoid consuming like AI generated video, those like with the fruit, Love Island style, with the fruit and the chocolate. Maybe avoid watching and consuming those type of videos. I'm not saying you should not consume entertainment at all, because there are so many great movies, great TV series, Stranger Things, you know, those kind of things that are great, and you can also learn so many things from watching a movie. But yeah, try to really be mindful with what you are consuming. And another recommendation is also pursue hobbies that are also good for your brain. Playing chess, dance is another great skill that you can learn, because it's good for your physical health and for your brain, because you have to really work on the muscle connection, like I'm now doing dance, and it's so hard to remember the steps and coordinate your body. So dance is another great skill. Playing any type of instrument, singing. Literally, there are so many videos about hobbies that you can have to keep your brain sharp, just taking care of what you're consuming. This will make you feel better, and this will make you also perform better. And this is a great lesson that I learned, because I used to really consume anything that was coming in my feed, and now recently I learned that there is the option to click on the 3 dots on Instagram, for example, and you can just select I'm not interested. Chapter 5, The One Thing, which is also the title of a book that I really recommend. I read this book, and something really meaningful that I learned from reading this book is that you should focus and you should channel all your energies in one thing at a time. Because one mistake I was doing in the past, and sometimes I'm still doing it, is that I'm a multi-passion person. Like, I love everything. So I love dancing, I love going to the gym, I love finance, I love literally anything. As soon as I hear about this new thing, I'm like, oh, this is cool, I would like to learn more, or I would like to focus my energy more on this. But really, I've learned that our energies are limited. Our body is like a battery, of course. Like at the beginning of the day, we have like the full battery, but at the end of the day, our battery has reached the minimum and we have to recharge. You only have one battery, full battery, in one day. you really should start to focus on one thing at a time, because if you channel all the energies of your battery in one thing, you will see that it's there that you start to making progress. Because the problem is that when you jump from one thing to another, and you don't really focus your energies in one thing, you feel that you're not really progressing, because you're like spreading your energies in too many different things, and your progress is minimum. But if you start focusing your energies in one thing, you will see the growth is exponential. And you might be like, what if I want to learn how to play an instrument, but I also want to start going to the gym? You can definitely have everything, but not everything at once. So something that I recommend here is try to create the Wheel of Life, which is this popular coaching tool. You can search online, but it's basically this one. This helps you balance all key areas of your life. But what I recommend to do is to try to understand which is the area you might need to focus more and you might need to improve. So for example, if you feel already a great relationship with your friends and you're spending a lot of time going out with your friends, but you're not really taking care of your body, you're not working out, maybe you can start to be like, okay, I might start going out twice or 3 times per week with my friends, not every night, and the other 3-4 nights or 3-4 days, depends when you want to work out. You can start focusing your energies on learn how to properly work. What I recommend. So one thing at a time. I've done that. For example, I focus a couple of years only learning how to properly exercise in the gym. So they are so loud, oh my gosh, the little parrot. So for example, I spent a couple of years just learning the technique of the exercise, and then once I felt I was pretty confident, I moved on to the next pillar of my life, the next area of my life I wanted to improve, for example, finance, and I start to really dig into finance, watching a lot of content about personal finance, investing, and so on. Final and last chapter, chapter 6, which is take all the risks. Okay, maybe this is controversial, but I learned that the most beautiful things in my life happen because I started taking risk. And I think I'm a really risk adverse person, like I don't really like taking risks. So it's something that I really need to work on. But for example, sometimes we feel that we don't have time to travel, or we feel we want to move abroad, but we are scared of this and that. So sometimes we probably just need to take the risk. For example, I have a lot of people messaging me because I moved from Italy to Australia. A lot of Italian people reach out to me asking, how did you overcome the fear of leave everything, your family, your friends, your job, and just move to Australia? And honestly, I really didn't feel the fear. I just decided to do it. Sometimes you just need to follow your gut feeling. Like if your gut feeling is telling you to do something, to start your project, to start a different career path, sometimes you just need to trust your instinct. It can be applied to anything. For example, oh my gosh, they are so loud. I really hope you can hear me. They are very cute, but also very loud. I applied for this Erasmus program, which is a student exchange program we have in Europe. For example, if I live in Italy, I can go and study abroad, and European Gov is paying me to go and study, in my case, in Spain. And you can select, for example, like 3 cities, your 3 top preferences. I really wanted to go to study in Spain, and my cities were Madrid, Barcelona, and Zaragoza. And my top priority was Madrid. I really wanted to go to Madrid because I love that city. But in the end, I was accepted for Zaragoza, so I was selected for my 3rd. And my first reaction was, oh no, I don't really want to go because I was so obsessed with going to Madrid. But in the end, I had this chat with one of the ladies working at my uni. She was the one managing all the paperwork and stuff. And I had this chat with her. So I told her, I don't know, I'm not really sure. Maybe I should reject the application. And she told me, trust me, do it, because even if this is not your first option, you will have the best time of your life. And in fact, those 6 months studying in Spain were the 6 best months of my life. I had so much fun. I met amazing people, including my current partner. And that was pretty much it for today. So happy 30th birthday again to me. If you're trying to build a healthier relationship with your body, your mind, your finance, you should hit subscribe and stick around because we have a lot of work to do. So welcome to my channel. I'll see you to the next one. Bye. I forgot to introduce myself. If you are new here, hi, my name is Martina and I'm an Italian girl who moved to Sydney from Italy 4 years ago. I'm here trying to build a YouTube channel, so I will be talking about everything I learned in those 4 years. Think about like your big sister giving you the advice she wished she knew when she was 20. If you want to support, hit the subscribe button and stick around. Recently I read this book, The Slight Edge, and there was a chapter that really resonated with me.